Hello, this is Brandon Johnson. Happy Halloween to everyone, and this is my Module 5 presentation for AEP 800. This is Barriers to Technology in Schools. Just a summary of the handful of articles that we read. Some of the things that I took away from the readings as an administrator. I feel like I must have a clear vision for school technology. Um, I have to find a way to make technology accessible to all kids in school. Make sure that my staff is well trained on different things that that can keep the students engaged and learning. Um, and just make sure that my building and my staff stays up to date with things that are going on in the tech world of technology. Um, I also feel like I must teach my students the 21st century skills needed to be successful post graduation, um, and try to shrink the gap, the barrier gap of technology, and make make technology accessible for all of my students. I also feel that staying on top of budget as it pertains to technology is very important. Um, technology is always changing. Just making sure that you can keep the new and best things in the hands of your students and staff is key. One of the articles we had to read was on the digital divide and whether we think the digital divide can be resolved. And I personally thought that it was crazy that 1/4 of the nation was without broadband internet. Um, and with that being said, I do not feel like the digital divide could fully be solved. First of all, I think technology grows way too fast. As soon as you get that new and best thing, a new and best thing is coming out. Um, and then by the time that one issue's fixed, something faster, better, stronger is coming out. So therefore, I think that we're always going to be chasing that gap in a digital divide with certain socioeconomic classes and certain groups of people. In a money-driven market, I feel people will find other things to spend their money on um, besides internet and technology. Um, there's families out there that struggle just to meet basic needs of things. So um, creating, bridging that gap and digital divide is not really the number one thing for them. So I think that as a nation, we'll always be chasing that divide gap. Um, Skill sets that students must have before graduation. Um, I feel like they need to have proper communication skills when it comes to technology, emailing, how to send a proper email. Um, you know, it's not sending a text message where you abbreviate your spelling, and you need to use proper sentence structures when emailing, Skyping. People do interviews nowadays over Skype and over webcams, so they need to know how to go about doing stuff like that. They need to know how to use technology to do research and find credible sources. Wikipedia and things like that are not always the most credible sources when it comes to research on the internet. I feel like kids need to know basic computing skills. They need to know typing, paper formatting. They need to know how to use all different types of programs. Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, Word, all those things that post graduation they'll be expected to know how to use whenever they're in school or in their job or the workforce. And they need to know how to navigate the internet safely to avoid getting caught up in trouble on the internet. So I feel those are skill sets that students in the 21st century need to know before graduation. The impact economy has on my personal use of technology. I know that I've been fortunate enough to grow up with access to technology, but like the one article that we read said, not everyone's been that fortunate. Um, as an administrator, um, I feel like I need to make technology devices more accessible, make sure that the students have accessibility to the internet, and make sure that they have a knowledge base when it comes to using technology. And regardless of what's going on in the economy, I need to make sure that I try my personal best to make sure to bridge that gap so the students can get technology in the classroom and in their hands. Technology training I need to integrate. Um, I feel that I've mastered the basic skills of internet use, but in no way am I would I say that I'm highly technologically literate. I feel like I could go and receive training to hone in my skill sets. Definitely, as I become an administrator, I would want to get guidance from a technology support staff in areas that may be lacking, um, and just stay up to date on technology programs that are currently being used in schools so that I can best serve my students and staff and make sure that everything in my school would be staying up to date. Does my district have 21st century technology? You know, I'm a PE teacher, so I don't really use much technology in my classroom, but I do feel like my school district has pretty up-to-date technology. We currently have a Wi-Fi system, a district Wi-Fi system that all students may access. Um, we have, up-to-date computer and mobile labs, allowing students access to computers in the classrooms. Most teachers have, I would say all teachers have projectors and teaching tools, such as document cameras, Mimios, smart boards. There's not a lot that teachers in my district ask for as far as technology goes that they don't try to do for them. We are not a one-to-one school district, but we do allow students to use their smartphones. They can bring their own personal tablets, connect to school Wi-Fi, and use those devices in class, throughout the school day. And in my district, students are given their own personal email address. So we try to get the kids started off on the right foot with using email. And we provide them with the email address that they can use, as far as getting hold of teachers for homework or personal use, whatever they may want to use it for. And we do have a district tech team that is used to help teachers with, computer issues, whether it be with your, work computer, your projector not working, just if you want certain training on different types of things, that they're there to ask, and they're there to help. So that makes it a big help in my district. Some advantages of innovation practices in school. I think that innovation definitely keeps students engaged in the lesson. I believe that students, when things are new and interesting to them, they're going to be more involved in the learning. It creates some freedom for them to do their own thing. So technology definitely does that for students. I believe it can reduce the cost in school. That's a double-edged sword. You got to buy technology, you try to keep it up to date. That can drive the cost down with not purchasing textbooks and all that necessary material. But like I said earlier, technology is always changing, and you always want to try to stay up to date on what's out there for the students. So in a way, cost reduction could happen. I believe that collaboration also happens through the use of technology. Students can collaborate through email, through social media, all sorts of stuff like that. And it prepares students for post high school education or their career after high school. Technology is something that's not going to go away, so I definitely feel like our students need to hone their skills while they're in school. Some disadvantages of innovation practices in school. Like I said earlier, the cost of equipment. If you don't budget well, it could get out of hand very fast. You know, Keeping staff trained on certain technology could be a challenge. I personally know that my technology use is not the best, and I'm definitely not the most literate when it comes to technology use. But um, if you can keep your staff trained on different um, ways to use technology, it can definitely be beneficial for the students. You know, uh, Dependable internet access may be an issue. You may live in a rural school district that doesn't get the best, internet access, and with a lot of students online at the same time, you could have issues as far as that goes. Students need to be aware of the effects of plagiarism also. Get kids online and doing research, and you need to teach them the proper ways of citation, and not stealing other people's work, and keep them out of the habit of that. And the last thing, and I think I see this a lot because I personally don't use the social network or social media a lot, but I think students can develop social network addiction. Spend a lot of time online, and too much screen time can be a bad thing. I still think our kids need face-to-face contact, and learn those social skills of interaction through talking with people, not just interaction through a computer screen or through a webcam. Have I experienced problems with cyberbullying or inappropriate internet access? As an administrator, I think this is something that will never go away. This is always going to be an issue that you have. Um, you know, you're always going to have people that are doing inappropriate things on the internet, but I think there's certain things that you can do to minimize these risks, and that would be to teach students proper internet etiquette. Teach them, what is appropriate and what's inappropriate, and make sure that your students know that in your school there are going to be consequences for certain types of actions. Whether that be loss of privilege or whatever, but just need to know that your students need to know that there is a right and a wrong way to access the internet, a right and wrong way to treat people on the internet, and all that stuff. So, um, anyways, that is my presentation for Module 5. Again, my name is Brandon Johnson. I appreciate everybody listening. Hope everybody had a great Halloween, and look forward to talking to everybody soon. Thank you.